All right, so it's been some time since I last sat down and just talked about a topic that was interesting to me, and I want to talk about being productive 24/7 and how that really isn't the best thing for you, no matter how much you think it is. Now, I really want to talk to the people who want to hustle 24/7 and just, you got to work on a side business, you got to like make a ton of money, you got to work 13 hours a day and all that shit. Like, I want to talk to people like that because, like, I have been kind of falling down that rabbit hole. Well, I mean, I've been falling down that rabbit hole for a while, and I think that yeah, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. I made a few notes off here to the side, just so I don't lose my train of thought because I get distracted easily. But I want to talk about my point number one, which is burnout. So when you're constantly pushing yourself, I mean, obviously you're gonna get burnt out, right? When you exhaust yourself, it just takes a huge mental burden, and then not only does it lead to just mental fatigue, I find that it also trickles into like physical as well. Like when you're in the gym, you just don't push as hard, I feel like. It's not because you're lazy, it's just you're tired. Like when you're mentally tired, it kind of messes up your sleep. And when you mess up your sleep, it messes up your physical health. And it just kind of seeps into all aspects of your life. And I mean, on that topic, I want to talk about mental health. I feel like my mental health lately has just been slipping. Work has been unbelievably hard and tiring. And then not only when your brain is like fried from work, now after work, I want to be productive too. I want to work on my videos. I want to work on my channel. I want to work on just a bunch of things that I have here. Like, I mean, I want to play drums, right? But I just like, I'm so mentally tired. And that's what happens when you try to be productive 24/7. You just don't really have the energy. As much as you think you can do everything in one day, you can't. You just can't. All right, and the next thing I want to talk about over here is diminished creativity, because that is another huge thing that I think just needs to be talked about. Now, you probably know that when you're constantly trying to be productive, it kind of hinders your ability to be creative too. Like for me, think of like my upload history. I used to upload like so many, I feel like pretty decent videos back in like December area. And now I'm just not, I'm making what, like one video every week or two, like, which is fine. That's not a bad thing. I even made a whole video addressing that. But I think part of that is just because I'm trying to be productive 24/7. So it's just hard to have that extra energy to pump out another video here or there, you know? Yeah, it comes to a point where it's not even that you're lazy, it's just you got no energy left. Sometimes you just need a good break. You know, it gives your mind space to wander, and just as much as we want to avoid mind wandering, like sometimes you just need it. Sometimes you just need to sit there and do nothing and just like think. I don't know how to describe it, but if you're trying to do work all the time, like it's just not good for your head. Okay, I'm gonna give an example. Let's say if I had to pick between 1 hour of like a nice walk in nature or 1 hour of trying to get more work done, I would take the nature walk in a heartbeat because I know that it's a very regenerating activity. Like if you've ever gone for a nice walk when it's a beautiful day, let's say you walk through a forest or even just a park, it feels so like invigorating. Like it just feels great. And in turn, it just kind of helps you to be more creative. At least that's what I felt. All right, and for my next point, I want to talk about relationships because that's another big thing that typically takes a hit when you're trying to be productive all the time. When you're working round the clock, you end up straining your relationships with your friends, your family, even your partner. If you want to have a good work life balance, you kind of need to have those breaks where you're just hanging out with friends. And yeah, even though hanging out with friends is not productive, it is. It is in a different sense. You know, I think productivity is kind of like confused in a way where if you're doing work, then you're productive. If you're just being busy, you're productive. Like that, I just don't think that's it. When you go for a walk in nature, that's productive. When you sleep an extra hour so that you can just get a good night rest, that's productive. Productivity isn't all about grinding and doing work. I think it's almost like a misconception of productivity. And I think it's good that we talk about this because productivity comes in all sorts of forms. But yeah, back to the relationship thing though. You might think that seeing people is a waste of time, but it's actually super energizing. And, especially depending on if you're an introvert or extrovert. I mean, that's a whole other thing in itself. But even if you're an introvert, like someone like myself, I'm pretty introverted, but I still sometimes just get energy from being around people. And like kind of like in the long term, maybe it's like it's in the short term kind of draining, but in the long term, I'm glad I did the thing with that person because it gave me a break. You know, like sitting here and trying to do work all the time, like that just kills your brain. Yeah, I just don't sleep on relationships because finding a good relationship with, let's say, a friend or something, it's hard these days. It's really hard to stay connected, and if you're able to keep that connection, I would say do it. I don't think you will ever regret working on a good friendship because I think good friendships are honestly, they're like a one of a kind. You just can't really get that as easy as making more money, for example. All right. And anyways, that's kind of like a tangent, but I want to talk about my next point, which is just health implications. So if you're like trying to grind like 25 hours a day and you're just like neglecting your sleep, your physical health, your self-care, all that stuff, like, I mean, it has a huge negative hit on your mental and physical health. I kind of mentioned this earlier in burnout, but it's important to prioritize rest and relaxation. I mean, a healthy lifestyle is, you need some balance in there. Now, I get that if you want to do something great, you kind of have to throw your life into a bit of chaos. Yes, I get that. But that doesn't mean you can work like more than you sleep. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to work like 16 hours a day and you're only sleeping like 4 hours or something, I don't know, right? It's going to make that 16 hours 16 hours, really. I mean, if you were to sleep, let's say 8 to 9 hours of good high quality sleep, and you only worked for like 4 to 5 hours a day, but it's like really deep focused 4 to 5 hours because you got that rest and you're very fresh and re-energized, that 4 to 5 hours is worth probably more than 16 hours of just pure grinding. Now, I'm lucky I've still had that balance in my life where I'm able to do physical exercise still while I'm working on, my job and working on my side thing here, which is YouTube. But my sleep and my mental health really have taken a hit lately, and I feel it. I feel it just ruining my productivity. And like, for the health implications, like, I mean, I'm constantly tired now. Like, even this video, I was supposed to record this video 2 days ago, but I've just been so tired. Like even right now, I hopefully the low energy is not coming through on the camera, but it's really hard when you're working all the time, to have that energy to do something like this. But it just means too much to me that I'm going to make the video anyway. And even with the whole physical health thing, like, yeah, I've been going to the gym and all that. Like I'm still, still growing. I'm a growing boy, but then my physical energy is just not at its peak. Like it's just like you go to hit like a PR or something, and then I mean, you barely you push the thing like halfway up, and you're like, you got to drop it because it's too heavy. Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely burnout speaking right there. All right, next thing up, I want to talk about lack of enjoyment because this one hits way too hard. When you constantly push yourself to be productive, it kind of leads to like a diminished enjoyment of life. Like it's like everything is it's like kind of gray. Like I've been feeling this big time recently where it's like the color of everything is, like I said, like it's more gray. It's just like color doesn't seem to pop, or I don't know. It's maybe that's being a little extra, but I think things just kind of feel like mundane and pointless. When you're constantly grinding the same thing every day. Now I don't want you to worry about me. I'm still all right mentally. I've taken the time to journal and trying to push through this roadblock, and I've been slowly getting better at this and managing it. But yeah, this is what working all day does to you. It's just it makes everything kind of blend together and not really in a good way. Now this is where, taking time for hobbies and leisure activities and hanging out with friends, like I mentioned before, like just simply unwinding for even just like half an hour a day, or even just go for a walk, do a quick meditation, like an NSDR session, just do something and something that actually gives you enjoyment that is not work. So for me, I love going for walks. I love just sitting down and doing like a 10-minute NSDR session with Andrew Huberman. It's great. It like re-energizes me and everything. But yeah, like all right, I'm kind of off topic again, but yeah, the lack of enjoyment though. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you've probably felt this before when you're grinding something so hard for so long and just everything else in your life just kind of feels a little less fun. And yeah, that's what happens when you try to be productive 24/7. You just kind of enjoy everything else less, and it's just not worth it, dude. Life is too short to constantly be grinding all the time and not like you gotta stop and just realize and that things are pretty good. Just look around, like smell the roses or whatever the hell you're supposed to smell these days. I don't know what that means, but it's true though. I mean, life does pass you by really fast. So you got to enjoy it while you got it, especially when you're young. Okay, anyways, let's go to the next point, which is decreased productivity. I mean, no shit. You work too hard, you're going to work less hard. Yeah. But paradoxically, excessive productivity actually kind of decreases your overall productivity. Like trying to be neurotically productive all the time. It's like when you don't give yourself that proper time to just rest and rejuvenate and sleep and just take care of yourself, it kind of like messes with your focus, your attention span, and it just makes you like a less efficient person overall. And the thing is, when you're not really efficient, it just makes your work output less. And I said earlier, having like 4 to 5 hours of deep focus work on a good night's sleep and everything versus like 16 hours of just work all over the place where you're not really focused, like the 4 to 6 hours is worth so much more, or 4 to 5, whatever I said. Just deep focused work in a shorter time is worth more than unfocused long time work. You know what I mean? All right. And the thing too about trying to be productive all the time is you're probably sleeping less because you want to get more done, or you're kind of procrastinating, whatever, right? Either way, you're getting less sleep, you're getting worse quality sleep, whatever. And then you couple that with a burnout state where everything just kind of sucks and is really hard. It's all related. And doing enough work, like, it's satisfying when let's say you work for like 1 or 2 hours of deep focused work, you get a lot done, versus you're trying to work for like 8 hours straight. And it's just like, doing too much is just like mentally deadly. It's too much. And it seeps into other areas of your life that just, I mentioned this earlier. You don't want to kind of ruin all aspects of your life just because you're trying to work a little bit harder. And that actually takes me very nicely to my last point, which is just an unbalanced life. Striving for productivity all the time just throws off the balance of your life. It's important to have a well-rounded existence that includes activities beyond work. You got to have interests that are outside of your professional work or your side hustle, whatever, anything that's related to your productivity grind. You need to have something that's outside of that. And for me, I play drums. Like, it's one of those things I picked up recently. And yeah, I haven't really had time to play it because I've been trying to grind so hard, but I'm doing it wrong. I think that I need to have more time for hobbies, because these hobbies, they're fun. They're not supposed to be productive, like, it's not everything's about productivity. And that's just something that I myself am trying to get better at. I mean, if anybody knows me recently, I'm all about productivity. Like, I'm one of those people who tries to like min-max everything, whether it be like through their supplementation or their working out or their diet, whatever, right? I try to like min-max all this shit, but then I really should be taking my own advice here. I mean, the main takeaway here is just do something that isn't draining and isn't work. Yeah, not everything has to be productive. And like, this is just something that I've wanted to talk about for a while. And it's just something I'm working through. I think that I want to do more videos like this where I just talk about things that are bothering me, that are on my mind, and just do like a more unfiltered style, no editing, just cuts to cut out I don't want to leave everything in because that'd be too much. And something, I just want to make something very clear. I didn't make this video because I want you to think I'm perfect and that I follow all the things that I preach in my videos. I mean, I preach a lot of stuff in my videos, and I want you guys, I want to make you guys aware of things like this, like playing too many video games or wasting too much time, because those things are important, but it shouldn't be the focus of your life 24/7. And that's why I made this video to talk about that. And you got to remember that, finding a balance between productivity and relaxation, it really is the key to leading a fulfilling and sustainable life. Sustainable is incredibly important. I mean, you can grind hard for a long time, but that's just not sustainable. All right, fellas. Well, that's all I got for you today. But if you feel similar to what I talked about, I mean, let's come hang out on my Discord. Let's chat about it. Been having some good conversations with some of the people on there. And I think if you want to talk about this stuff, like, it's a great place to come and go instead of the YouTube comments, right? I'd love to get to know you guys better. And I'm honestly curious to hear the other perspectives that are not mine, because sometimes you just need to hear from someone else to make you realize certain things in your life that you just couldn't you just couldn't realize yourself. I don't know where I'm going with this, but all right, fellas, take care. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Talk to you later.